You're listening to the Living Adventures podcast, a lifestyle podcast hosted by ashleymielke and Victoriavance. Tune in for a new episode every Thursday to hear our honest conversations about topics like freedom, creativity, spirituality, luxury living, health and wellness, and above all else, building community.
We have real and unfiltered conversations inspired by our search to feel connected to people who give a shit about us, support our dreams, and understand our struggles. Our mission is to provide you with the tools, guidance, and motivation to navigate any moment in your life with the lens of your neurodivergent mind, with a community who gets you. Adventure on. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Living Adventures podcast. It's your host, Ashley Mielke, here with
Victoriavance.
And we're excited, and I'm excited because it feels like it's March. It feels like March is just a series of hot topics that get us mad and frustrated and heated. And today is one of those topics. We're talking about how you're not alone and how the online business space is a big ass facade. And we're going to define all the words that mean nothing, that shape how we present our success, and why that leads us to thinking our problems are problems when they're not actually the right problem, if that makes any sense.
It will make sense by the time we're done.
It will make sense. I'm excited. It took us a while to figure out what this issue was, but it's very accurate, and we're going to break down how we've experienced this in our own shift. Last week, we talked about how we burnt our businesses to the ground, and before we got to the place where we felt confident in doing that, we struggled a lot with figuring out what direction we were going to go, how we were going to solve our problem, trying to hit next level, make more money, find new income streams, all of those things before we were like, this is not it. And there's a reason why it wasn't not it. So that's what we're breaking down today.
Yeah, it's not it. And it's just a bunch of hype shit, just like the dating world, which I could rant about for the rest of my fucking life, but I won't today. So
on another
cheers.
episode, I do want to listen to Victoria rant about the dating world. As someone who's married, I'm just like, facts. Every time Victoria says something, I'm like, as someone who's married, I could see how that's true because this is how I experience it. And I'm so far removed from the dating world, though. So, I just love your opinions.
And it's so fun because obviously my Ashley and I's TikTok For You page is very, very similar. But there's a few distinct things, and it's her getting married stuff and me getting a lot of single and dating stuff. And then I'm like, oh yeah, have you seen this? And she's like, no, that's not on my stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me show you this because it's wild. And she's like, what the fuck is going on? And I'm like, welcome to my world. But I'm like, I'm not even dating. I'm not even doing all this shit. I just watch and I just laugh.
I'm always like, if I had to go and date again, I think Adrian and I have been together for 8 years, out of the dating game for 8 years. And I literally would have no idea what to do. And every time you send me something, I'm like, no, I feel like that's wrong. I don't know what to do, but I don't think that's it either.
Well, it's because it is all wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're going to talk about today.
No, we're going to talk about all the things wrong with running an online business and being a content creator. All right, we're going to dive in. And the first place we're going to start is talking about the buzzwords that really define the online space and entrepreneurship and content creation. Because if you take a deeper look at the words that we're going to talk about today, they actually mean nothing. And they mean nothing, but they drive us to buy programs, invest in courses and coaches, choose paths, choose way to create content that actually make no effing sense. And they are buzzwords that have no meaning and could mean a million different things. But for some reason, when you say them, a guru says them, you're like, wow, they've made it. And you're like, how can I make it too? And so one of those words, for example, that I think gets Victoria very heated, and I used to use this word and be really proud of it, is 6 or 7 figure coach, multiple 6-figure coach. And girl, this was in my freaking bio for 2 years. And she literally, before we hopped on this, went off about it. But I know the error in my way because it literally is a buzzword. It means nothing to be a multiple 6 or 7 figure coach. It is another way of saying, oh, money is a status of success and you should want to have a shit ton of money because if you have a shit ton of money, then you're a happy person. You have a good life. And I almost felt as a business coach, if I wasn't making multiple 6 figures, like why would anyone want to hire me? Because I have to be making a lot of money or I'm not worthy of teaching people anything.
And it's like literally just kind of what we talked about last week is the corporate ladder continuing and everything. But it's also, to me, I'm like, okay, when I've heard that stuff in this originally and I was not making 6 figures, I was like, okay, so there's one hand on the idea of I should hire them so that I can make that much money, because if they did, then I can, and it shows that, like if anybody can, then I can do that too. But at the same time, going into it, I noticed that so many people, one, are lying about how much they make. Also,
They're
two,
lying.
is you just can say that is I do 6 to 7 figure coaches just so you raise your prices and get people to like come in. Like, it's literally doesn't actually mean anything. And so being like, oh, they did it first, like, oh, they're making 6 figures, then I can make 6 figures, is false, because you don't even know if they're fucking making 6 figures. They're fucking lying to you, just like all those Wall Street bros of like, oh, I made 2 million or what. Oh, actually, that's not, I don't know if that's how Wall Street bros sound, but like the finance bros kind of.
I was so naive to the fact that people could lie. I'm like,
I don't understand it. And I know it's a neurodivergent thing, but like,
I
bitch,
did
what?
it. I swear to God, it took for 2 years. I didn't know people were lying about this. It wasn't like the facade was real. The fucking curtains, the show, the masks. I had no idea people were lying and faking screenshots and faking testimonials and faking all of this stuff because, and it's so stupid, the reason they were faking it, because I said in last week's episode that the corporate world made up rules and no one wants to admit that the entrepreneurship world made up rules. It's a made up rule that you need to be making 6 figures to help people, or that that's a status of success, or 7 figures is a status of success. And it's not to say that making 6 figures or 7 figures isn't something to be proud of. It's an achievement, it's accomplishment, it's a benchmark. But the way we use it now as a buzzword is to say, I'm better than everyone else who can't use this title or who isn't lying about this title like me. And if you want to be it and you want to be a part of this club, you better be making this much money or you can't sit with us. And it's like, what?
And I also felt like with hiring an OBM is like, then she changed while we were working together to like, I'm for 6 to 7 figures because she was raising her prices. I saw her do that. And I was like, she's literally just doing that to raise her prices to give herself permission instead of charging, like kind of what she's worth or like what she can offer you. And it's also like, I know she hadn't really worked with 6 to 7 figure coaches. So then how does she know what they need? And so she's just hearing what they need from her coach and everything. And so it's not actually understanding. And also, too, is like businesses can run so differently. And so just because a business is making, let's say, 6 or 7 figures or whatever, it doesn't mean that the business will look a certain way. But then because you're making that much, people try to tell you it needs to start looking away. And then that just continues like that funnel of like how you have to do things.
Right. And it's like it's this benchmark. Obviously, yes, your OBM used it too, but it's how we categorize ourselves, which means when you make 6 figures, now you need to use these strategies. And when you make 7 figures, now you need to use these strategies. And if you want to make 7 figures, you better be acting like a CEO and hiring these team members. And it's a category that we use to make a new set of rules that you have to follow. So, people are even like, oh, before you make 10K, don't get a website, don't do this, don't do that. And it's like so many effing rules that we don't need. But because this exists and because at every level people are giving you rules and new ways of doing things, we start to feel like we have to invest a certain way, we have to act a certain way, we have to perform a certain way online, which makes us put up a mask when we're not making that, lie even, some people, present our success in a different way than we have to. But the biggest thing is it makes us hard to realize what our true problems are when we have these levels of success that we're trying to achieve. Because the other buzzword that we have is next level. Everyone's always saying you need to hit your next level. What's your next level? What's your next level? And for some reason, that next level is always defined by adding money to your income streams, getting another brand deal, getting more followers, getting whatever. And we get obsessed with this. And so we think our problem is that next level and how are we going to get there? It's so far, but that's not the missing link.
And I think 2 other ones, and they're not necessarily like buzzwords, but shift your mindset, change your mindset, or also something that you can connect with is like be intuitive. Because think of like you hire a coach that's helping you with your intuition. And like the first one where like she did in the first part, but then she was just doing all of the sales tactics. And it's like when, you're growing up is like people are like, be intuitive, like do things with your gut. But then they're like, no, you need to make all your decisions with your mind and train against it. And so it's,
Yeah.
they say this one thing and they might like give you a hint of it, but then they pull back and you won't realize that, and you're just in the same patterns.
It's so true, because money will always be the motive before you can really figure out what your actual problem is. And we're going to help you figure out what the actual problems are in this episode beyond the buzzwords. But you're so right. In my experience, I used to think that my problem was being burnt out, not feeling creative, wanting to get to my next level. I was obsessed with my next level. Every month I wanted to be at a next level. And I got help figuring out my intuition. But you're right. In the beginning, we were working on my intuition, be intuitive. And then it shifted and I felt like I couldn't be intuitive because I was back in a box of rules where it's like, no, you need to get to your next level. If it comes down to you being intuitive or getting to your next level, you better prioritize that next level because your intuition won't get you there. And that was literally the message that was being presented to me. Can you imagine? That's insane to think about. And it's just, wow. Yeah, that's wild.
And so there's so many of these things, and they make us feel like we're doing things wrong. But it's also, they're not actually being defined, and you're just given these false hopes and these false metrics of success that make you, in the end, feel like shit, a home, alone, and afraid.
Yeah.
Just to get you to buy more.
To get you to buy more, because if you constantly have to get to a next level, you're going to invest to get to that next level. You know, it starts off when we start a business, 10K months. That's the goal. 10K month. I want a 10K month. What the fuck does that even mean? Why was that the definition? You know, because now we can have a 6-figure year is probably where that derived from. And if we go back to the corporate ladder, what was the goal in the corporate ladder? 6 figures. So what is our very first goal in starting a business become? 10K months. And 10,000.
And that's like the first thing is like, oh, make 6 figures the first year. Like, yeah, a lot of people can do that, but also that's fucking hard as shit, and people don't talk about it. And people, I know there's success stories of like, oh, I made 6 figures in 6 months my first year in business. A lot of them are probably lying.
Okay, and
but also
be
too,
honest,
that's fucking bullshit.
And I did 6 figures in 6 months, and I burnt out and cried every day. I made 6 figures in 6 months, but I was crying every day, because I had so much work and so many clients, and it was not fun at all. And the other thing is, we can talk about 10K months, 6 figures, 7 figures. You have no idea how much money that person is taking home. If you are making $10,000 in your business and you follow a good accounting method, which is profit first, you're only taking home $5,000. You're only making $50,000 a year in your personal account. That's really not that great or that exciting. But again, we've glamorized that. And the same thing can be true for a 6 or 7 figure coach. You could be making $300,000 a month inside of your business and be taking home very little or being very irresponsible with your money, because even if I think about myself, the amount of money I was making, I was super not ready for. I had no idea what to do with it, which is why I constantly invested in coaches and courses, because I was like, well, I got fucking $30,000 extra to spend this month. I don't know what the fuck to do with it. I don't want to pay taxes on it, so I might as well go spend it. But I didn't have good things to spend it on. I should have been investing it in stocks and mutual funds, and not coaches or retreats and experiences. I wish I would have spent stuff on that, but it really didn't exist at the time because we were in the middle of COVID. And so we have these things. And again, if we look at this, I was so caught up on this idea of next level, 7 figures, 10K months, whatever. And it was driving my financial decisions in a way that was super negative. And I didn't even realize that these words were made up and don't hold value and only hold the meaning that we ascribe to them. And if you peel back, what does the next level actually mean? It really means nothing. It means nothing.
It might just mean you take a step up the stairs. It literally can be a fucking baby step is your next level, because it can just be oh, I'm doing something new. I'm trying something new. Your next it doesn't need to be that big. And we think this next level needs to be this glorious transformation.
I'm going from 20K months to 50K months.
How I went from making $800 to my savings account to 10K consistent months in 2 months.
Why?
That's what?
And think about our shift over the past 6 months. It's taken 6 months for us to shift. And if I think even further back, I've been working on my burnout for a year before even that happened. A year before I even started doing this. And so it's been a 1.5 year transformation to completely go from burnt out, making 6 figures in 6 months, crying because I hate everything, to completely actually like, yes, this feels like a next level, but it doesn't feel like a level anymore. Do you feel that way too? Like, I don't feel like I'm at a level. I just feel like my life has shifted and I'm living more authentically.
I agree with you. And there's something in the mindfulness community. I think it's called, there's like this Japanese word for like always learning or whatever. It's like shosho or something like that. I'm butchering that and I feel so bad about it. But basically it's, you could do the same exact thing, but you're always going to find newness and breathness in it, and you'll always look for new things. And I think that at the level that we're at now is I'm not looking to up level and up learning and next level and do this and do this and do this. What I'm looking for is just to like always find things and wherever I am and to always be learning. And it's thinking back to when I was a kid of like, oh, the greatest thing you could do is just always want to be learning, and doing that is, I fucking hated you then, but no, you're really fucking right that it's when you can be open to just always learning and always growing and not needing to be at the top, because that arrogance that you feel at the top, like that's not real and it's just fucking bullshit, and it's keeping you from anything in the world. Because when you just or allow yourself to be like, hey, I don't have to be the expert resident in every area of life. Yeah. You are able to learn so much and grow because you're not going to be heading with arrogance, and you're not going to be like, well, no, that's not what it's because of this. You'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't thought of it that way. And you can not like the idea, and that's fine. But like, since at this point we're open to anything, we don't feel that next level because we're just here to just vibe.
You know what that makes me think of? We are here to just vibe. But you know what that makes me think of? The reason why it's not about a next level is because we are universes. Like the way you've just explained that, we are little universes, and it's truly about expansion. And everyone thinks about next level and expansion, and I think they think linear, like literally going up. But I almost think of it as, now I'm so happy with where I'm at, and I just want to expand what I can hold. I want to expand what knowledge I engulf. I want to expand what experiences I have. Sure, I can expand what projects I work on and how much money I make, but it's not about me climbing to that next level. It's about me holding it in my expansion. It's about my universe growing. And that gives me chills as I see that, because it's so much more empowering than thinking I'm down here and I need to climb up here. No. I'm the center of the universe. And as I expand my mind and I look for that newness and I look for that purpose and I live in that, the opportunities that I can have get held in my expansion. That's so much more empowering.
And it's more empowering because if it's next leveling and it's like, I'm here and it's here that I have to get to, it's belittling yourself.
Yeah.
You're literally othering yourself and you're making yourself feel less. And they're doing that on purpose so that you buy whatever to get to that next level and to be that. Where if you just view it as expansion and just keep growing and just have that of like, I can have so many things and I can keep growing and whatever, is you are able to hold on to it and it's able to mean so much more and be impactful.
Right, because
of that.
Right, and because you are the universe, it always comes back to you. So imagine if instead of living our life by these buzzwords and thinking, I got to get to my next level, I need to invest to get to my next level, it's like, oh, I really want to expand my universe, and I am the universe. So what way do I want to expand? What information do I want to engulf myself in? What do I want to invest my time in? What experiences do I want to have? It's not to say you can never buy anything, invest in a coach, course, program, retreat ever again. It's looking at it from a sense of you are expanding what you can hold instead of reaching a new level. Fuck the new level. It's not about that. And that is why so many people think they have problems that they don't have, that we'll talk about later, like needing to hire team members, needing to fix this, fix that. No, if you look at yourself as the center of the universe, the problems you actually have are so much different.
Because I bought something yesterday, everybody. I bought a masterclass pack. It's like 7 or 8 masterclasses in one, and it was on sale. And the reason why I bought it is because I have always had a hard time, as you all know, a year ago I learned my human design, and then November I got that reading, and I've been trying to get better at it and understand it more, but there's such little information about manifestors. And then I found this woman on YouTube who was on somebody else's podcast who literally runs a community for manifestors, and like it's since manifestors are only like 9% of the population, never mind like the 4-1 profile I have is even more rare. It's so hard to find information. And she's just created a fucking community and talking about it and just everyone sharing their experiences and how to grow and how to get better. And I'm like, I want to understand that more because I still struggle with some things that she's talking about. And so I bought that so I can keep growing. It's not because she's better than me. She just has information that I want to gain so that I can understand more.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like Victoria and I want to go on a retreat this summer to learn about astrology and deep dive for a week into the world of astrology while in Costa Rica. And it's not that that's going to get us to a next level. That is not my goal, but we do want to expand and learn how to leverage astrology and leverage our placements and leverage how the world works to just better understand the world. And having that goal is so much different than these buzzwords. And I mean, we can even quickly go through other buzzwords that we've talked about, like scalable. What the F does that even mean? Funnels, going viral. These things mean nothing, but we give them so much value.
And it's like, okay, viral doesn't even mean that, like, you know, everyone's like, I want to go viral for my business. Here's how to go viral. Here's how to go viral and sell out your next offer. You can go viral and still not sell anything. I've gone viral and made 10K in a day. And I've gone viral and literally made $300.
I've gone viral and made $10.
There's not a 1-to-1 correlation.
I've got my video on Max that has like almost 600,000 views now. I think just from the creator fund, I made like $20 from that video, but like it's not getting me sales in my business. But I mean, hey,
everybody, I am on the creator fund right now, and oh man, I feel like I finally made it in life. That TikTok finally approves me that I exist, and they notice and acknowledge me.
Oh my God.
I feel so good. It's not even about the money, guys. There's probably like $50 in the account.
No, it makes sense.
But I feel so validated for finally. It's been so long. You've denied me. And it just feels great. Thank you. Thank you for that, everybody.
That's just another buzzword that has poisoned Victoria's mind.
Yeah,
creator fund.
Guys,
you
it's
don't really
completely
need
about
it.
ego. You don't need it. It literally doesn't mean anything. But the fact that I was denied for it, and literally I have everything for it,
is pretty
and
validating
that people with
to get
less had it. It was frustrating for me, and getting it was really cool.
But yeah, anyways, views of going viral doesn't mean anything. And I even think of this because I've seen so many creators who are like, fuck it, I'm not getting any views lately, so I'm just going to post whatever I want. And I'm like, that's literally been the whole point this whole time. And they get so mad about low views. And it's, what do you want from those views, right? What does going viral mean to you? Oh, you want to make $10,000 in your business? Okay, you don't have to go viral to do that, actually, turns out. Oh, you want to get more followers? I got 200 followers without going viral in a single week. Okay, so you guys, what do you actually want? And that's what these buzzwords come down to. What do you actually want?
And it's also thinking that you need 100,000 followers, like, to sell anything. Like, I mean, we know people who have 7,000 followers who make millions and literally sell out in 2 to 3 minutes. It's not about the numbers at all. And that's just sold to you to make you feel smaller.
Right. To give you a benchmark, to give you a goal, to take something intangible and make it tangible. That's really what these buzzwords come down to. The success that many of us want is not a tangible thing. It's not actually money that we want. Yes, we want money, but what we actually want is safety and security. It's not a next level that we want. It's fulfillment. It's joy. It's time freedom. It's doing whatever the fuck we want in our lives and feeling joyful in that. But because that doesn't have a number, our brains are like, what does it mean though? How do we know when to get there?
And because it's not able to be shown in this easy metric and explained well, it's so hard to share and understand. Because, you know, saying like, oh, here's how I made like 6 to 7, all of that stuff it's so easy. And it's so simple to understand that makes people buy and it makes them feel lesser. Where when it's generally like kind of how we're doing, it can be harder. But that's also because you believe it's harder. And I always stand true of like, when you are genuine, like it will stand true for everywhere and it just will happen and things will work. It's also probably just because the manifestor and everything, but I will die on that hill. That's just me though.
Well, it's true. It feels easier to say, I've made 6 figures. You should hire me because 6 figures is sick. Instead of, I literally hate talking about how much money I make. I don't think it matters. It took me a long time to trust that that was okay as a coach, because everyone's like, no, you need to tell people how much money you're making so they know you're a good coach. I'm like, I have 2 degrees. I went to college for 7 years. I think I know what I'm doing. I've worked in corporations and businesses for 9 years. Okay. But still, even with all of that knowledge that would make me feel confident, I felt like my money was the only thing that would make people give a shit about me. And that is the real problem. I had to do money mindset work to get to the place where I realized my money doesn't define my worth. It doesn't define my success. I had to literally do the chosen rock bottom of the entrepreneur ladder to have the least amount of money I ever had, to see that I was still fucking valuable and my opinion still mattered and I could still go viral if I fucking wanted to. And people listen to me even if I don't talk about the money, even if I don't talk about my clients' money. Something that I did with my clients is I very rarely talked or asked about how much money they're making. I mean, if you saw my Instagram post, I said, I don't give a fuck about your business. I really don't. I don't care how much money someone is making. It's about how they feel. And it seems hard to convey that. I mean, I think even today I made a post about how Saturn just left my 8th house. And I'm like, oh, fuck, yes, I feel so much better. But it's hard to be like, oh, the feeling is like, if you're not good at tapping into those feelings or communicating it. So everyone just defaults to these buzzwords.
Yeah. And sometimes the buzzwords do make sense, but then because they're so hyped, it's hard to actually get it across.
Right. And so we chase things that we don't want to chase. And then what ends up happening is, okay, so we have these buzzwords, and now it's setting the standard for how we have to define success online. And so the way people are presenting their success online is through these buzzwords. I've made 7 figures. Vanessa Lau, even whenever she posted that she's going on a sabbatical, she's not doing business anymore because she's burnt out. She's reached level 5 of entrepreneurship. She even said, oh, I'm making $500,000 a month. I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, right? Quantifying her success. And that is the problem, is that we have this facade. She was so unhappy, but you couldn't see that because of the numbers that she could present and the viral videos that she was getting and the 600,000 followers on Instagram she had. You would never know she was unhappy unless you were behind the scenes.
Exactly. And so it's something, let's start talking about kind of like our journey with it and discovering it so they can see the difference, but also see like where it can grow and solutions.
Yeah. So
because we doing it together was a big solution that we didn't even realize at first.
It's true. Because basically what happened, I think it's important to talk about the very beginning of how we realized these buzzwords were driving how we were feeling, and we didn't even realize it at first. I think the first conversation we had was us sitting in a cycling studio, and before we even started cycling, we were like, how the fuck are we going to make more money? Like, both of us were like, I mean, Victoria had gone viral. She had all these clients. I had already been in business for 2 years. I was, selling all the time. And we were both like, how the fuck are we going to make money? I'm like, I feel like I'm stuck at an income ceiling. I don't think I can make more without working more. And I don't want to work more. I actually want to work less. And I feel so fucking stuck. And I don't know how to get to this next level. And I'm pretty sure I probably used those words.
And at the same time, we were also kind of deconstructing our burnout a bit and like realizing how tired we were. And we were thinking like, okay, like if I am burnt out and working on that, how am I supposed to get to that next level, make that more money if there's nothing inside of me left to give? But at the same time, hiring doesn't feel like the right answer, but it's all I'm told to do.
Right. And so if you look at like successful people online and their buzzwords and what they're doing, when you get to a place where you want to make more money and you want to work less, everyone says the easiest thing to do is 1, find people to help you work less, pay people to do the work that you're doing. And 2, the other thing that I think we looked into is how can you have offers or income streams that require less work but give you more money. And so I think the 2 things that we looked at that time were really who should I hire? And I had already hired a team to try to solve this problem, and I just held on to them longer than I should have. So who should I hire? And we started even thinking about, content creation. If we added more brand deals in, that's an easy way to make money super fast. And that could expand our income while allowing us to rest, make a 30-second video, make 10K, live our best life kind of thing.
Right, because I was like, okay, it was also in the idea of like, how could I make money on something I'm already doing so it doesn't add that much more work? Because it's like
We're already
coaching a
creating
client
content.
versus making a brand deal. I'm like, that's technically less work and it's less emotional labor. Not that necessarily clients are emotional labor, but it does take a small bit of a toll. And so how can I do that? And, you know, at the time, this was around August, September, where everyone's kind of talking about brand deals, and it was getting so popular, especially because of the get ready movement that everyone was transitioning to. And people are getting paid $50K for a collab. And yes, not everybody is. Please don't get me wrong. Like, there are people making $200 for like 6 videos, which is outlandish. But because we had already built our audiences and everything, and then we got an evaluation, I was told that I can start charging like 10 to 12,000 per post, just like based off of that. Then depending on user rights and all these extra things that I was learning, that I could probably be making up to $50K a post. And I was like, okay, so that's not that much more work. I should go do that.
Right.
That
and so
felt like the most logical stream.
Right. It felt logical, like, oh, that makes sense. And we've already talked about how us as content creators and business owner always look for the path that makes sense instead of like the actual solution, which we'll get to at the end. But I even think it's interesting because we just talked about how these buzzwords make us buy things that we don't need. We invested money on getting consultations to figure out how much money we should be charging for brand deals. I bought a masterclass to learn about usage rights and all these things so that way we could get the best bang for our buck, all thinking that like this was the solution because our problem was how do we make more money and work less? And this felt like an easy thing to do. But if we got down to the root of it, that was not the problem. The problem was not actually making money and working less and using content creation and brand deals to fix that problem. That was quite literally going to be a band-aid on the experience and not even aligned with any of our actual values, because I don't want a boss, and brands are essentially a boss and they really hold a lot of the power. And if you want to know more about that, listen to episode 28 where we talk about how influencing isn't sustainable.
Never mind how like brands can learning that brands can take 6 months to pay you and then still not even pay you. And I was like, so then how am I ever going to get my money?
I'm like, that's not fun. That's not it. That's not the solution. And you know what's crazy is it took us a long time to admit that that wasn't the solution. I think months and months and months we thought it was going to be a good
3
idea.
months.
Yeah, 3 months of us being like, this is a good idea. Let's keep working on it. Let's keep trying. And all we were met with was brands who didn't want to pay us shit. And I was like, this is not a good time. I don't want to be paid $200. I am worth so much more money than that. My time is worth so much more.
And I was like, don't they realize? And it's like, but I already have the audience. Like, why isn't this working? And I was really confused on it for a while. And it was also like, oh, I should want to get all of these PR things and everything. I should want to be on PR lists. Like, I see all these creators getting packages. And then at the same time, though, like, I'm not necessarily like I am a minimalist, but not in the hyper minimalist way of how it looks like design, for online design way. It's more and this goes with ADHD, is clutter does bother me, and having more stuff does, in a sense, mean more responsibility and more things to clean and do, and I don't like that. So I do have less stuff. And so then the idea of having all this stuff and how wasteful that is, I was like, that doesn't fit with me either. And I even talked about that on here before. And I was like, also, that's so much packaging to throw away. That's so many trips to the trash. Like, I see these hauls of 30 boxes and I'm like, let me see the haul of you taking that to the trash.
But again, it's something we're told we should want. It's a buzzword, brand deals, PR packages, brand trips. Like, these are just buzzwords and things that we're told that we should want. And again, if you are in a place in your business where you're looking for income opportunities and you're looking to expand so you can work less, it feels like a good one at first. And it also feels like, you know, I think online there's a very good conversation that we had is like, it's not normal to live the life of a content creator. It's really glamorized to like always be going on vacations and these extravagant trips. Like, that's not that it's not necessarily normal. Because it's like, I'm thinking of like the European content creators that I like, of dogs that I follow. And it's like, they do go on vacation a lot more than Americans. Like, don't get me wrong. But they're not going on these glamorous trips like influencers are 24/7. And they're even influencers. They go maybe like 6 to 7,
maybe like 10 vacations a year. But it's a lot more expensive in America to do all of that. But, you know, they have a better relationship with rest. I'm also presuming, you know, it's a dog account, whatever. Is
well, that's
we
the
think
other
that's
thing.
so normal. And we feel bad if we're not doing that. So we felt like we had to do that.
Well, at least getting brand deals. But the other thing is, like, these influencers are burnt out. They're going on vacation, but it's not vacation. It's work. It's a work trip. Like, let's be honest. It's a mother effing work trip. You're not on vacation. You're working the entire time. You're ruining your relationships if you're bringing family along and they think it's a vacation. We've already seen TikToks about that. Victoria and I actually both stitched one today. And
because she was talking about how vacations, she can't appreciate them anymore because she always feels like she has to film content. And if she's going on vacation, she reaches out to places to make content for them. Like, no, you don't have to do that. But she's like, I feel like I have to because it's an opportunity to make money and it's fun. And it's a creative outlet for me. Yes, but when your creative outlet then becomes your income stream, you need to have other creative outlets so that you do not get stuck in that burnout of that creative loop and you literally just do that 24/7. You need to set boundaries. You need to go on a real fucking vacation for you, possibly without your fucking phone.
Right, but this is just like another example of what people think the problem is. Like that influencer thinks the problem is her husband doesn't understand that she just has to work and that she struggles because she feels obligated to, take these videos and she just has to figure it out. And guess what the people are telling her? Hire a photographer so your husband doesn't have to take photos. Get there a couple days early so blah, 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 blah. That is not the problem. The problem is you have no work-life balance. If you have to do a work trip, you need to take a vacation trip too. You need 2 trips. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I think about how we were in Mexico, we were fucking working, and that's fine. But when I went on vacation with Adrian, I did not take my phone out once. And I felt guilty about it at first, but I'm like, no, I fucking had so much fun. I didn't want to film that. Why does everything have to be content? That's the actual problem, is you don't have work-life balance, not that you need a solution to be able to work while you're on vacation with your family. It's bonkers.
And we're also not shown what true work-life balance is. Also, that's another buzzword, honestly. Because I have learned work-life balance from these fucking dog creators. They literally go on vacation, don't post for like a week or 2, and then they're like, sorry guys, we just didn't feel like it.
You were living life?
But then we didn't. And then they're like, let me give you a little recap. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here for the fucking recap of this dog. Fuck yeah. Oh my God, look at the sticks that he's getting. Like, literally, these dogs are the greatest expander for yourself. Okay,
go follow
Milo, the poodle. I can like tag them in here. Tommy, the mini poodle. These are my homeboy dogs that I follow religiously and have the greatest work-life balance.
Well, the reason why work-life balance is a buzzword too is, let's talk about another buzzword, consistency. You need to be consistent. And we think that means we need to work every day. We need to post every day. We need to fuck that shit. Consistency means whatever you want it to mean. And you're right. I've learned so much about work-life balance, and we think it's like this literal balance of the beams. It's not a fucking balance. It's a flow. Nothing can be consistent. We have ADHD. Let's get that straight. First of all, like, consistency means differently for us, and it's not the same thing every day. We like to switch things up. Why do we shame ourselves for that? I even think of this week, yesterday, you know what I did? I did a week's worth of work yesterday, and I was so tired at the end of the day, and I was fucking shaming myself. I'm like, push myself too far. Why did I do this? And it's like, no, I actually don't need to shame myself, because I don't have to work for the rest of the week if I don't fucking want to. Like, I already did the things I need to do. I already covered my bases. So that's work-life balance. It's not, oh, well, now I need to be consistent. I need to make sure I keep showing up. Like, no. And that's the actual problem. When now everyone's thinking, remember, this whole thing is about what we think the problems are. We think the problem is we're on vacation and we need to figure out how to work, or we need a better life-work balance. And it's like, no, we don't actually know what we need, because you're not dealing with the actual problem. And the actual problem is you. It's you. Quoting Taylor Swift, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. It's not the buzzwords.
Yesterday, Ashley does like a week worth of work. I worked maybe 2 hours yesterday, everybody. And she didn't shame me. She called me once. She asked me for something, like showing me how to do something, whatever. I was like, what's up? I've just been watching YouTube for 3 hours. Oh, cool. Yeah, I agree. No, we should do that. I agree. No shame. Didn't even ask. Doesn't even care. Because we both know that some days it's going to be like that. There's no judgment. I can tomorrow go and do 2 weeks worth of work, and then I can do nothing for the rest of the week. And if she needs me to do something real quick, I'll do that, no matter what. But it's having that relationship and that boundaries with each other is very important, which we'll talk about more.
Well, and I think the other thing is we have each other to reflect what actual balance and flow looks like. If I don't give a shit that you're working 2 hours because I'm like, oh, that's cool. That like almost gives me permission to go work 2 hours later this week. You don't have to feel bad if you overwork yourself on a Wednesday and do a week's worth of work because you know that you took time for yourself. And I think it would be really hard if we didn't have each other to mirror the different ways that we can work and the different styles that we could work. And instead just we're stuck in our own little cocoon like most creators are, like most business owners are. And no one ever, like we talk about how, we invest in coaches and mentors and advice and all these things. People are not giving you unique styles of working and unique ways of working for you. They're telling you to jam pack your calendar full with shit to do, including the personal shit that you want to do and live by a Google Calendar. Like literally raise your hand if you've never followed your Google Calendar. Hi, it's me. And so there's a better way to do things. And that's the actual problem is we don't know the better way to do things until we start testing them out like Victoria and I have done over, I don't know, the past 6 months.
And it's good because, we have that balance with each other and to show each other how it can be. But at the same time is, we're continuing to learn it. And so like maybe I did need to do a little bit more yesterday because I had energy at the end of the day and I need to export that energy before I can fall asleep. Or this relationship with work is these are things that are hard to show online. And so because of everyone masking online and like showing their success all the time and just showing the best parts, and yes, sometimes people do show the hard parts, but it's still not even showing those in between times and whatever, because when you're not having a good day, like you're not going to probably show up online.
Yeah,
especially like in your business or content creator. And you shouldn't feel like you have to. Cough, cough, creators doing sick get ready with me.
Cough, creators crying.
Because they didn't sleep last night, but they feel like they have to make this get ready with me video telling you about how I didn't sleep last night. Like, no, just go to bed. You have the ability to go to bed. So go to bed.
Take the mother effing day off, okay?
And, when we have that is like, and if Ashley might catch me working and knows I just had one of those, she might be like, go to fucking bed.
Like, go take a nap.
It's not that deep. And like, we can tell each other that. And it's important to have these offline connections and network that help support that and show you the facade online so that you, maybe when you're having that bad day where you're scrolling online more, you're not necessarily having those thoughts as much, or you have boundaries around those thoughts of like, if you have that, then you can go talk to the community about it and they can reassure you. You don't need to do all of that stuff. You're not a bad person because you're not doing all of this stuff. And it creates a sense of security for yourself that I didn't realize I'd needed for so long.
Yeah, I don't think the expectation, like you said, should be that the online space is going to change and that people need to be more authentic and more honest about their bad days. It doesn't. Like, people don't owe you shit. They don't owe you shit online. And this is a message for everyone who shows up on. You don't owe anyone shit. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to tell anyone about your bad days. And Victoria's so right. Like, instead of making the expectation that the online space needs to be more honest and vulnerable, let's set the expectation that we need to do a better job of cultivating communities and friendships who exist offline that are honest about their bad days, that share their bad days with you, that you can share your bad days with them, and you have that external support system instead of depending on the internet to show you the truth and the ways of the world. Why is it the expectation that the internet has the ways and the truth of the world? It does not. It is full of buzzwords and bullshit and lies and happy days and glamorization. And yes, sure, a lot of inspiration, a lot of education, a lot of entertainment. But if you want to get in touch with reality, get in touch with a community offline. I think Victoria and I having each other through business has been essential because we can be honest, thinking all the way back to when we first started this conversation of how the fuck are we going to get to our next level. I was like, wow, this is the first time I felt like I could ever be honest with someone and tell them that I wish I could have more and I have no fucking idea how to get there. Because especially for me as a business coach, I'm like, everybody thinks I have the answers and I'm fucking confused.
And it's funny because, when Ashley opened up to me about that, I was like, wait, she's thinking that too? She has the answers. What the fuck? But it's funny because we had a conversation this weekend where when Bo and Max were both puppies, so this is like summer of 2021, and Ashley's working at her business and like doing her full girl boss era still, I was like literally crying every fucking day, so sleep deprived because of Bo. Mind you, Ashley had her husband to help a lot more with raising Max and everything and didn't have the night, so she was sleeping fine and everything. But I was like, how is this person running this business and doing all this shit? Well, I'm fucking crying. I can't even I can barely get myself out of bed. I was having such a hard time, and I'm comparing myself to her, let alone then I asked her and she goes, oh, I was just faking it.
Me, I'm perfect.
She's like, I was dead.
I live a perfect life, everyone. I have never once experienced hardship. No, I was literally crying. And
well, at least my dog didn't chew the wall.
Yeah, fucking shit, man. He ate a fucking spatula today, so we're just vibing with that. I don't put what drives me bonkers. No, but I was telling Victoria, like, the other thing that helped me with performing online is I was in musical theater. I was a performer. If I need to wipe the tear, let me tell you a story, Victoria, that will help you understand how I can wipe the tears and put on a show. Every time that we would do our last show in musical, like of the last weekend, the last performance, we would stand in a giant circle and the seniors would tell stories. We would tell each other how much we love each other, how proud we are, the lessons we learned. Everybody's fucking sobbing. 60 people in a circle sobbing about how much we love each other. And then 1 minute later, we're on stage smiling, putting on the show. Like, that alone taught me how to like wipe it up, smile. We're gonna go dance for the people, little dance, monkey dance. And that's how I did it. And but that's online. Like, think about it. We're performers. It's entertainment. It's, yes, education, but it's entertainment. We're putting on a show. And that, I think it's easy to shame people for putting on a show, but it's not that. It's like, we need to get in touch with the fact and be honest about it. It is a show. That's fine. I'm watching fucking Vanderpump Rules, and I know some of that is not real. I watch The Real Housewives. I know some of that is staged. Okay, but we need to be honest about it's a facade. That's not the expectation. I don't think I should be a fucking housewife and have Botox and have the problems they have. I don't think that, because I have I'm in touch with reality and real people who have regular problems, like my problems, like the fact that I could tell Victoria I want to get to a next level and I don't know what that looks like. That's a real problem that if I said that online at that time, I don't think I would ever have signed a client. And I mean, I probably would have. People probably would be like, oh, wow, that's so fucking honest and real. But I wasn't in a place mentally where I felt that way. And that's the shift that has to happen. And that's the real problem, is you need people who understand you, who can talk to you about your bad days. So then maybe later on, when you are at a mindset where it doesn't feel like a shadow, you can confidently say things like I did last week, where I said, I don't give a fuck about people's businesses. I couldn't have said that 6 months ago because it felt like shameful and shadowy. And I had to do the mindset work to feel confident in that, to move forward. And that doesn't happen without support or offline friends who can get you.
And so it's like having community in that like-minded space that can support you where you are in anywhere in journey of your life. And so I've never felt like I've had that support in my life. And I mean, Ashley and I were literally talking this past week, like kind of analyzing how we became friends and whatever. And we'll talk about that at a later time. And it's like actually so crazy because we just kept learning more things of like how everything was timed so perfect. And we're like, wow, everything's really working out for us.
The universe planned this shit.
Like, just us meeting, I was just like, I don't know how, but that was just made to happen. Like, we both did not want to live at where we did. And it just happened. And like, we didn't plan to be there, but then it happened. And like, now we're here, which is mind-boggling to think that, the idea of like, you haven't even met the people that will make you the happiest in your life. You haven't even had some of your best days. Like, it's truly wild to think that like how it's all could just happen right before you, but also without even realizing it. And you don't even know what's next to come.
Yeah. And it's like and that's why your offline network is so important, because the opportunities that we've created, the experiences that we've had, the lessons that we've learned, so much of it we can attribute to the fact that we expanded our network and met each other. I didn't even want to be Victoria's friend. I'm sure we have a podcast episode where I said that, and not because I didn't like her, but because she said she was going to move. And I was like, why the fuck am I going to be friends with someone who's going to leave me? I got fucking issues. I can't have people leave me. And it's the universe.
She was cold to me, everybody, at first, but then I got her into walking, and that's how I sold her.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to open up. I'm not going to tell her shit about my life, because why would I be vulnerable to someone I don't know? And it's like, that is an issue, and you can't operate like that in the world, and you need to give chances on people. This is another example of like, you think the problem is the online space is a mask and you're mad about it and you feel alone. Well, you're not fucking alone. You are just not in a space where you can be vulnerable. And that is where you have to get to. Your problem is not that the online space is boohoo mean to you. It's that you feel alone. And guess what the fucking medicine is to not being alone is? It's being vulnerable. It's opening up. It's connecting with people when you feel like they might leave you. It's finding communities who are going through the same shit that you are and being honest about that shit. The minute Victoria and I got probably the closest we have been in this journey is when we probably were both like, oh, we fucking hate our lives. We're like, oh shit, you too? And we didn't even cycle. We fucking sat on bikes for an hour. My ass hurt so bad talking about what the fuck we were going to do to make our lives better. And then that was
I think we did one song and then we were like, all right, that's it. That's a wrap for today.
like what the fuck? And it's like, because we had that conversation, things could change and we could get honest about what the real problems were. And here's the issue. Because every experience I think I've had with like coaching and courses and programs that I've joined, even if it wasn't the coach's intention, the focus has always been money. The focus has always been my next level, because they're also stuck in the world of buzzwords and investment and growing and yada, 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 and wanting to make their own bank, which I can't be mad at them for that. But I didn't have an honest space where I could even be honest about what I was feeling and what I wanted. I couldn't tell people that I didn't give a fuck about money anymore or business anymore. And I felt this pressure to have all the answers and I didn't. So like, how am I going to tell someone that, I don't know what direction I want to go on when every week they're thinking about how I'm going to grow bigger and bigger. And I'm like, I don't know where I want to grow next. Even I had to let go of team members because I'm like, I don't have the answers on what the fuck I want to do next. So how am I going to keep giving you work when I don't know? I don't know the answers. And you have to have a space where you can search and find the answers and feel safe. And the hard thing is, many people are going to get to this level 5, 6 area of entrepreneur evolution and think they have to do it alone. And doing it alone is one of the hardest things that you can do, because in truth and reality, as we are humans, we need friends, we need community. No one was born here to be alone.
And I think there's something to be said of getting comfortable with the courage of the unknown. Like starting a business, starting anything, there's so much courage in that, but there's also so much courage in being comfortable with not knowing what's next and having to go through that phase and having each other to go through that and keep saying like, I don't know. And, like searching and finding things, but then being like, actually, no. Searching and finding that, no. And having people who are going through that same thing that aren't like, well, can't you just stick to something? Can't you just figure it out? Like you did it before, like just make it work. Just make it work. And having that space where it's like, it's fine and you could do it on your own time and you can cancel as many ideas as you want and you can grow as many ideas as you want and you don't have to chase them and you don't have to do anything. And that space is so important.
Yeah, I mean, remember our first idea? We're like, we're gonna get all these brand deals. We're gonna go on these brand trips, all these things. And then we're like, that's not what I want. But if we were like communicating that and broadcasting that and we were telling people that and we weren't ready for all their questions, it would have been really even harder to say, oh yeah, I don't want to do that, because now we would have people to answer to. And I think it's really cool to have a community where you don't have to answer to anyone. They're all just there for your expansion, not your fucking next level. That's the issue, I think, if we come down to it, is when people are investing, it's investing to get to the next level, and that's the focus. We don't want that anymore. We want people who are focused on our expansion, on us learning. Because guess what? When we did all that shit about content creation, we learned so much. We engulfed that knowledge. We don't really need it right now. But guess what? When Hoka comes to us this year or next year and is like, we're going to send you fucking shoes, we're going to know exactly what to say. We're going to know exactly what to charge. And all the information that we're gathering is going to make sense one day. I always say everything I've ever done has led me up to now. And every time I get to like a space in my life where I reflect on that, it's so true. And it drives me crazy because I'm like, whoa, even the things that I did that were wrong, even in the things that were just ideas that I researched that I didn't follow through with, they all led me up to now, and they're all going to matter at some point. And that is the permission that you need. That's the space that you need to truly grow through entrepreneurship and get to a place where you are in the intangible, but the intangible feels so good. The happiness, the fulfillment, the success, the constant knowing that you have the tools to face any fucking hardship that goes your way.
And that's, we talked about it, 2 episodes ago, that like, I love problems. I love anything that comes my way because I have the confidence and the ability, the structure, the guideline support to get me through anything. So guess what? Come hit me with your best shot. I'm ready for anything because I know I have the ability to deal with anything that comes my way.
Anything. And I know I'm so fucking safe and I'm so fucking supported, and I know that everything works out for me. And I think what was really cool is us choosing a rock bottom and closing income streams and doing all of that and going so against the next level theory and so against the 6 figures and going viral and all of those things, and everything's still fucking working out, even in the darkest moments, and just like gifts from the universe being handed to us and opportunities and things that I used to dream of and thought that were impossible, and just getting so much validation that even if I don't have all the money in the world and all the shit, I still am worthy of everything I've ever wanted. That's what people should be focused on online, is that. And like, I know earlier you talked about mindset shift being a buzzword, and it's like, because we can't explain the intangible, the true mindset shift that I think I've had over the past 6 months is I really fucking believe I can do whatever I want and get whatever I want. I don't care about the timeline anymore because the timeline is attached to a next level, but I know it's going to happen for me. And that all happened in my mind. And it's hard because you can't see the mind. And it's just really a feeling that happens, and it's an inner knowing. And I think the other thing is it really comes down to intuition, to knowing when you've gotten that expansion that you were looking for.
And it's not a mindset change at that point. It's an identity and belief change.
Oh, yes. Talk about it.
Because belief change, mindset is identity and belief, but people get mindset kind of confused, where it's this little thing of just being like, people say, if somebody says like, you're too much, remember, like, you're enough for others or whatever. And it's it's cool. That's nice. But it's, until you can identify with that statement, and I don't even identify with that statement, and I've been told I'm like too much and whatever, I now just believe like when I'm with the right people, like they're just going to accept everything that I am. And having that complete identity running through my veins, my blood, my whatever, like running through my body, it doesn't feel like a mindset shift. It feels like an entire body experience. So like just knowing that that's going to happen.
Right. It's not like a game you're playing.
Mindset shift feels like, I'm so busy. No, I need to shift it to I'm so full and I'm so lucky to feel that way right now.
I have to do this today. I have to do this today. I get to do this today. Like, fuck off. No, you're right. Like, I don't give a shit about your mindset shift. It's the identity change that we're looking for now. And your next level is, if like it doesn't exist, it's an identity change. An identity change happens in that expansion. And I would even say, like, let's think of, 6 months. It takes 6 months to change your identity. That's something we've talked about before. And I would say I've literally changed my identity. There have been moments where things that happened, that would happen now, if they happened 6 months ago, I would freak the fuck out. But because I'm so firm in the fact that I feel safe and secure in my life, I don't care. I know it'll be okay, but that's my identity now. My identity is I'm safe. I believe that through my body, like you said, it's a full body experience instead of just like a trick you're trying to play on your mind. It's like almost a default mode, like where something can happen and you're like, instead of saying I'm safe, you're like, no, default in your body. No, I feel safe. You don't have to tell yourself that. It's just the reaction you have to the event that comes up.
And it takes like a mindset change to have a belief change to then have an identity change. But it takes small baby steps, just like starting a business, just like walking with the first baby, it takes like crawling to then taking a step to like jumping or whatever. I don't know how to make a kid crawl or whatever. I am not a parent, very much so, but there are stages to it. And so you need to be confident in those stages and everything, but it's not about these little mindset shifts. It's about belief and identity changes.
Yeah, and I think if
you want true change.
Right. And I think if you are an entrepreneur who is feeling alone and feeling like no one is having the problems that you're having because everyone's life looks so amazing online, and even you are probably presenting your life as amazing online, so how could you possibly admit to the problems that you're having? What you're actually seeking is an identity change. It's not another brand deal. It's not another income stream. It's not a new team member. It's an identity change in you so that you can feel confident in yourself no matter how much you're making, so that you can always choose what the fuck you actually want to do over the buzzwords, over the expectations, over the fake ass rules that the online space has created.
And knowing that none of that shit matters.
None of it. None of
and
it.
That it's just a facade.
It's a fucking facade. And it's crazy because 6 months ago, I believed in everything. I believed that I needed the next level, more 6 figures. I needed to stack my income and make more every single month and grow every single month. And now I'm like, I actually don't give a fuck about any of that. I will always prioritize what I want to do and my happiness over that stuff. But here's the cool thing. Here's the even cooler thing is because obviously I still want fucking money because we have to exist in the material world and pay for shit and have cool experiences. That's what I want. I know now that I can do whatever I want and still achieve monetary and material success. The difference is I don't have a pressure on the timeline. I don't care if it goes up or down or left or right or whatever. And I know now what I would do with all the money I want, all the experiences that I want to have. And I know that I would invest it in a way that's aligned with where I'm at, where I wouldn't have done that before. It would have been aligned with the rules of entrepreneurship and what I had to do, instead of now I'm fully rooted in my identity and how I want to be. And so now when I do have more monetary success in that next level, but not next level for me, expansion, I can hold it better.
You know, it's so interesting. I was thinking about yesterday how, okay, I'm presuming that you dealt with this, but I feel that's safe to do is, you know, when you sell something out, it's like, okay, what's your next thing that you're doing? You're like, there's not even time to like appreciate it and everything.
You're fucking
and
selling.
That's a big issue. But we also are taught that it's like, even when we haven't even put it out yet, okay, what's the next thing going to be after this? What's the next thing? And you have done this before where I know that's why it's true is, you know, okay, if we do this, then what's the next thing they're doing and everything? And for me personally, with what we're kind of doing and launching LAC and this first round is I'm like, what's next? I don't know. I'm confident to tell the world, I have no fucking idea. All I know is we're going to do this for a bit. And then we'll see what's up next. And maybe there's something more. Maybe I have no idea what it will look like. Maybe it'll be something completely different. But I can say I'm confident that like I don't need it to look exactly the same. It can change or whatever. And that I'm not here to start and sell the next thing or do anything because I'm just here going to enjoy the experience that we're doing this.
Well, and
I'm so happy with where we are.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why it feels like you have to know the next thing is, one, we try to run entrepreneurship like a corporate business. And so everyone tells you, who are the business gurus, you need to plan out your whole year. You need to know every quarter what you're selling. What are you selling next month, this month, last month, whatever. And on top of that, not only do we do that, but we're like, also, you need to know what you're going to sell people into after they're done working with you, because client retention is the easiest way to make money. And if you can retain a client or a brand deal or whatever, you'll have secured income for even longer. So you need to know how to help them on the next part of their journey. And while that stuff can be true, and yeah, sure, having a year-long sales plan is cool, and you can have a ascension model where your people go to this offer and then they graduate to the next offer and the next offer. Is that what I want to do? No. And I think what people get messed up is we are not huge corporations. The huge corporations that we are comparing ourselves to are Fortune 500 companies. They're not small businesses. I mean, we are small businesses usually until we make $30,000 or $30 million, I think, in the space that we're in.
Yeah, I was like, no, not 30,000.
No, $30 million until you're out of small business territory. So yeah, I think if you're making fucking more than $30 million, you should probably have a year-long plan of what you're fucking selling, because you have more employees, you have more approvals and disapproval processes, all of that shit. If you're a fucking solo entrepreneur, you have less than 10 people or fucking less than 5 people, maybe don't have a sales plan, because we have so much unpredictability in what's going to happen in our businesses, in our lives. And I think if you are like truly living the entrepreneur life, your business is a tool for your life, and it's just a tool. It should not be driving your life. And so why wouldn't we live with the seasons of our lives? I agree. I'm so glad that I only know that we're doing LAC through September. And after that, I literally low-key don't want to work the rest of the year. Like, I'm kind of good. And like maybe we can make different decision at the end of September or whatever. But like, we're fine in that. Yes, do I have pings of things I want to do and where LAC could go next and what's going to happen for them next? Yes, I do see that future, but I'm not committed to it. I don't give a shit about what I do. I just want to be happy, and I'm going to chase that happiness and follow that intuition wherever it leads me. You know, yes, maybe LAC becomes something different and it grows, but I'm excited for the round that we have upcoming because I know what it looks like, and I know that we are going to be so happy and impactful while we do it.
And something I'll also say, because I like to be a bit more chaotic energy, even if you don't ever want to do a sales plan, just say fuck it. Whenever Ashley told me that, like in my first year of business, I literally was just like, ugh, can she shut up? I was just like, that is never going to be me.
I would create sales plans and not follow them. I'd be like, this month I'm going to launch this.
Why?
Also,
exactly. It just sounds gross.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have
be
to
chaotic.
Do it. It's not even, but don't even look at it as chaotic, because it's not. I mean, we put this pressure on ourselves to look at a bigger picture, but why is there anything wrong with living month to month? Especially if we think about your human design type or your fact that we have ADHD, dude. Like, I don't want to do the same thing forever. I get fucking bored. Whenever I would have plans for selling 9 to Freedom, by the time it came around again, I'm like, I don't fucking want to sell this again. I'm bored. And so, you know, that might not be your style. You might be, you know, my sister's a fucking Virgo. She loves planning shit. She would be the woman with a sales plan. And there's no shame in the way you want to do business. I don't give a shit how you want to do business, but you shouldn't think you have to do it any kind of way. And there's no shame in having no idea what you want to do next.
Don't let others project their own issues and beliefs onto you.
Big facts.
When you really look at the world as a fucking projection, it really fucks up your mind, but it's also really nice at the same way. It can be relieving and it can be really annoying. And there's a lot that you can do with it. So think about that.
Yeah. Or like, you know how Lacey Phillips is always like, no one is your friend or your enemy. Everyone's your teacher. Take whatever everyone's saying and use it as a lesson. But make sure you actually take the lesson, right? Okay, if everyone's saying you need a sales plan, what's the lesson there? Maybe you don't want one. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe the lesson is that doesn't work for your personality or your lifestyle. That's fine. That's the lesson. That's what you got to take from that. But at the end of the day, the online space is a facade, and it's not like the facade is going to change. The truth is you have to change. All of these, I want you to list out, this is your homework if you're listening to this episode, list out all the problems that you think you have right now, the next level that you want to get to, the amount of money that you want to have, the brand deal that you're chasing, you know, all of those things, the burnout that you're facing right now. And then I want you to ask yourself, like, whose problem is this? Like, is it actually your problem? Because my problem wasn't actually I wanted to get to a next level. It was that I was tired and I didn't know what was next, and I was shaming myself because I didn't know what was next. You know, it wasn't Victoria's problem wasn't that she needed to hire a team member. It was that she wanted to work less, and she didn't know what it would look like to work less and keep the same client load. So she outsourced work and thought that was going to be the solution. It wasn't. Whose problem was that? That was someone else's problem to hire a team member. It's not hers. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. Is this my problem? Prob's not. Because at the base of this, if you are going through all of these things that we've talked about so far, your true problem is you need to change your identity to be the person that is truly authentic in their path. And that's it. That's the biggest problem.
And I think for me, like something that also had really was the issue is money and my beliefs around money. Of thinking like is I had to make more money to then build and live the life I have now. And thinking of kind of like a Jeff Bezos level, which is not a healthy level to think at, but it's like, you know, that man's just like yachting and doing whatever the fuck he wants 90% of the time. Like,
but he hustled and grinded first.
He hustled and grinded first so that he can make all of that, right? And so I should have to do that. And so I have to go the content creator route and do all of this stuff before I'm able to get it. But when I started to take all of that away, is I was able to find that, and it's not really about the money, but I was sold that it was about the money, and that once I have the money and I can hire more people, then I'll be able to get that time back. No, that has to happen first. It can happen that way, but also for me, it had to happen first this way.
But not even.
And to just trash it all.
Yeah, well, you're like, it can happen that way where you hire the team and then you get your time back. Look at Vanessa Lau, making $500,000 a month. I think she had a team of about 9 to 11 people, somewhere around there, who I know she hired to get her time back to work less. But guess what she was not doing? She was not working less. Because if you have toxic beliefs around money and work and productivity, it does not matter how many people you hire. It doesn't matter what shifts you're making inside of your business. Your beliefs will still run the game. It happened to me. I had team members, and guess what? They took work off my plate. I kept working. I was like, oh, I can get more done now. I got to prove myself. I got to be productive. I got to get this stuff done. I can make more money now. We just saw a TikTok last week, Victoria and I, where this guy was like, you should never say that you're going to get things done by the end of the week. You should say you're going to get it done by the end of the day. Because if you can get everything done by the end of the day, you'll 7x your growth. Like, fuck off. No, that is like, if you run your business like that, you will run yourself into the ground. So you can hire as many fucking employees as you want. But if you're out here trying to get shit done by the end of the day and not giving yourself any time to breathe, that's an identity problem. That's a belief system problem.
Here's the thing. If there's one thing I learned in art school, you wouldn't think it's this, but if you try and run your life like that, you will then get up into critique that week and you will get shit on so hard that you will cry. Experience, I have done that. You cannot do that.
Well,
I don't even care if you have fucking ADHD sometimes. You're going to miss the shit, okay?
Well, and life is going to treat you the same way. If you push yourself and try to get shit done, you're going to present stuff to the world and then you're going to cry. I know, so after I made 6 figures in 6 months, all I wanted to do was cry. Good job, Ash. You're successful. You hustled. You make so much money. And I'm like just burnt out and crying for fucking what? And so that's why it's like you really have to change your whole belief system. It's about, like we've said so many times, you have to trust your intuition. What is that intuitive language? How do you talk to yourself? And before you can even do that, you need to dismantle your beliefs. Over the past 6 months, the way I have had to dismantle my beliefs around money and success and safety and having my needs met, like so much has changed and I think so much differently. But if I didn't do that inner work, nothing that I added would have changed. It all would have been a Band-Aid. And I think that's the point here is the online space is a facade. Everyone's glamorizing their success. And at the end of the day, all the solutions that are being presented to you are fucking Band-Aids. The team member is a Band-Aid. The next level is a Band-Aid. The viral video is a Band-Aid. The 10K month is a Band-Aid. The scalable offers are a Band-Aid. Because if you're not happy and you're burnt out, the true issue is you. It's just you. And that's empowering. I don't want you to feel disempowered by that. You know why that's empowering? Because if you are the problem, that's so fucking easy to fix. That's so fucking easy to fix. Like, and not that you need fixing, but it's so easy to shift out of a problem when you're the problem. It's so easy to go inward. It's so easy, especially when you have support like Victoria and I have. It's a lot harder to be like, oh, world, buy more things for me. World, give me more money. It's so much easier to be like, I can do whatever the fuck and make money. Whatever the fuck I want and make money. And then it just comes to you. That's way better. I wouldn't be the problem.
And I heard this quote last week, and it's, I think, what is it? It's, you don't need to fix yourself. You need to embody, right? Is that what the quote was?
Because like we have these shameful parts, right? We don't need to fix it. Here's the thing I realized maybe last month is like, I have this fear of being a fuck up. And that if I get good opportunities, I'm going to fuck them up. I don't need to fix that part of myself. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. And like you said, I need to embody that. I need to embrace that side of me. I'm a fuck up. I'm going to fuck things up sometimes. And guess what? I know now that I can fuck things up and still get what I want. And I'm not going to lose everything if I mess up. And that is the true identity shift where you're not fixing your problems or fixing your mindset. You're embodying every aspect of yourself, good or bad, and knowing that even in the bad times, even in the good times, good mindsets, bad qualities, whatever, you're fucking worthy. You're worthy of everything you want, and it's going to work out for you. But that has to happen. You have to embrace that shadowy, shameful side, not fix yourself. You have to embrace it.
Exactly.
Fuck yeah. I think I dropped way more F-bombs in this video than ever before. But I'm really very passionate about this topic.
You guys can tell when Ashley's passionate. She swears a lot more. Me, I just do it always, 24/7.
Victoria's just always passionate. No, this shit.
I'm not.
Yeah, okay. Well, she just cusses a lot more than I do, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I'm passionate, F-bombs are dropping. All right, final takeaway about the online business facade and like solution. What's the solution here?
The solution is know that you're not the issue is not the things that you think it is. And the issue is, yes, the online world has its problems, but we also have the ability to work with that in different ways, and we need to find solutions elsewhere. And so whether that's you need to find a community to support you offline on the online world, to have that vulnerable space, to be able to grow and have that place where you can say, yeah, I'm fucking struggling and I don't understand what's next and whatever, is we need to have a place for you to have that and for you to rip off the Band-Aids and to look at all the wounds and also heal them together. But we can't necessarily do that online, and we don't need to ridicule the online space because that shouldn't really be what happens online. And not that it needs to happen in a dark space either. You don't have to deal with it alone. But the online space is not going to provide you the place that you need to, and that's okay. And so that when you're having these hard days, know that like you do not need to compare yourself, and you do not need to get put down by these buzzwords, because guess what? You are worthy wherever you are right now. You don't suck. Like, I promise you all are little rock stars. Okay. A round of applause to you all. You don't suck. And you don't have to next level, and you're not beneath anybody. You are you, and that's okay. And that's good. Let's support that.
Yes, I love that. The way I look at it is like all of these buzzwords are conditioning. And the longer that you exist in the online space without deconditioning, the more susceptible you are to these buzzwords, and the more you're going to have a harder time deconditioning. You're going to have a harder time deconditioning the longer you've been in the online space. And so, I think about me, I've been doing this for 3 years. This shit was ingrained in me. My marketing degree was even teaching me about how to think about status and data and success and all of that stuff. And it was a lot of deconditioning that had to happen. But Victoria is right, where you don't have to do that deconditioning alone. And if you do it in a space where you're supported, your results in deconditioning will happen a lot faster, because you'll be surrounded by people who are also doing the same thing. And your goal should truly be to get to a space where it doesn't matter what people are saying. It doesn't matter what's happening online. You are rooted in your own values and your own belief system. And your belief system doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to look like Victoria's. You just have to figure out what it looks like for you. And when you find that, then you find the way you're going to make money. Then you can find the way you're going to continue to grow your income and experiences and opportunities and truly expand. But because we are the universe, it has to start within us. It has to be that identity shift, because then from there it outwardly pours and brings in those opportunities. It brings to us like this LAC experience that we can now have. That wouldn't have happened if Victoria and I didn't do the work on our mindset and all of that, to believe that we're worthy of doing this kind of thing and having fun and working when we want and making kind of content that we want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's on that, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're resonating with this and you're recognizing that you want to decondition and you want to figure out what's next for you, and you're starting to believe it's not a next level, but it is a different way of life, it's just something different, but you're not sure what it is, go check out the LAC page in the membership application and go explore what that might look like for you. We are quite literally taking people on a 6-month journey to shift their identity, so that way they can have all the intangible success that people online are talking about. The schedule that you love having, the feeling that every Monday morning is fucking Christmas because you know you're going to do whatever you want and whatever makes you excited. And not just like that big picture, everything works out for you kind of feeling, but also when you walk away from LAC, you walk away with this skill set and the tools that get you to the place where you can be hit with anything in life and know exactly how to navigate it. good, bad, ugly, you will have everything you need to confidently rely on yourself and your new support system, because that's the other thing. We're not doing this in a silo. It's a community of like 11 people, if you count me and Victoria, that you have to lean on through this big shift. And that's what's waiting inside of LAC. So make sure you check out that in the description.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have any more words.
But yeah, all right. Well, that's it for us. We'll see you on the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.